Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode is about a singular movie, which we'll get to in a little bit. But first, I just want to invite you, you the listener, to join us for the fan vote, which is always during Tay's episode, so that'd be next episode. You can get your movie recommendation in, and it will be in the next vote. Wow! What do you do to do that, Yemmy? You either send us an email at ff.filmfreakswithz at the end at gmail.com, or talk in my movie stuff section of the Ferret Nation Discord, or, well, last but not least, just comment on the latest episode of Film Freaks with a Z to get your pick there. If there's a tie at the end of the day, the one that's been winning the longest will be the victor. All right, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves before we talk about the movie. I am. I'm trying to calcify this. I am Yemmy the Queen. Who am I here with?
Bohemian Greedy.
And Callus Mercury.
Oh boy.
Tay is on vacation, so he's living it up in the sunny place of somewhere. But he's here with us in spirit. He would probably be called. Let's see if Greedy. If you were Bohemian Waffles, or what were you?
I said Bohemian Greedy, but I would have been. I should have been Bohemian Waffles.
Ooh, that sounds better, yeah.
so Tay could be Taymation Rhapsody.
There you go.
Well, I think y'all know which movie we're going to talk about today, but Greedy, why don't you go ahead and introduce it for us?
Yes. So we stuck with the movie or the band genre. So I chose Bohemian Rhapsody, released in 2018. What's the story about? Well, it's the story of a legend British rock band named Queen. No, I don't know if you ever heard of them. And the lead singer Freddie Mercury, leading up to their famous performance at Live Aid in 1985. Directed by Bryan Singer. Writers are Anthony McCartan, Peter Morgan, and some stars is Rami Malek, Lucy Boynton, Wim Lee, and others. So I wanted to start this conversation off. It is Oscar season. Oh yes, I can hear everybody making the Chris Rock joke right now. So this movie got a lot of talk when it came out in 2018. I never saw it, but I heard like people going nuts over this movie. So I know kind of Yemmy's opinion on it, but what do you guys think? Do you think this was Oscar worthy or what?
I think Rami Malek's performance was Oscar worthy. That's for sure.
Yeah, the movie as a whole, I don't think it's really all that Oscar worthy.
Yeah, I was kind of watching it, and I was just like, like this got a lot of hype. I'm just kind of like, meh with it,
Yeah, of course this is gonna win like the best score category because it's just a bunch of Queen songs, So.
Yeah, of course.
But the one category that I mentioned last time that it won, which is really bizarre, is the editing category. Even though like the editing for like the musical parts of the movie where it's like playing a Queen song, it's really snappy editing, back and forth. Those parts are good. Do you guys agree with that? Like the editing in the like music parts?
Yeah, the music aspect, like when they were doing like the like live like performance, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my absolute favorite scene in the whole movie was like the final scene when he's putting the performance. That was a blast.
Yeah, and the editing was great. It was edited just like the live performance. Same thing with like, like the musical numbers towards the beginning. Like all the editing is great because it's all snappy and it works with the music. But when you take that music out of the scene and it's just a bunch of people talking and they keep that snappy editing, it's really, really distracting. All the cuts that they made, especially I'll just give you guys an example. The scene where they're talking to that band manager guy at the table, and Freddie walks in with his like bedazzled crazy outfit on, and like there's so many cuts to every single person. Everyone's got to give their reaction. Everyone's got to do the face or the thing, and it's just like, dude, we just need like 2 cuts here and a group shot. That's all we really need. And it was throughout the movie that they did that. It was so weird.
good example of that is when they were making the build up to what song is it? Why can't I think of the name of the song? Easy come easy. What's the name of that song? Jeez.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, Bohemian.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like when he was trying to hit that high poach or high vocal, and he's like, "Do it again." It was like again. It was like again. It was like, oh, jeez, okay, we get it.
I felt like that was okay with the editing. Like I felt like that was okay, and with like the way that went. But like you go to like the scene where they're like presenting Bohemian Rhapsody to the record company.
Yeah.
And like every single time someone says everything, you got to get a reaction from the drummer and from the bassist and from the guitarist and from the manager and from the guy they're talking to. I think it was Michael Myers who was playing the
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 manager?
band, yeah, the record
Or not the
label
manager,
guy.
the label, yeah.
Yeah. It's like everyone's got to get the reaction, and I think that the band members had a lot of say in the editing room because you got to get everyone's reaction. Everyone's super important, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not to say that the other members aren't important. I mean, obviously, Queen is a group and a project, as we all know from the movie.
I didn't really notice that in the moment as I was watching the movie, but I do agree that there are quite a lot of like weird cuts throughout the movie.
Yeah, and it's crazy that this movie won editing because there's so many scenes like that where you can just like it's so many cuts and it's like a fraction of a second that it cuts there and it moves on to someone else's reaction. It's like, can we just have like a back and forth or maybe like a group shot of them all giving a weird expression instead of going between every member of the band and every actor in the movie?
I guess the final scene like really carried the weight for that award.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, when the music's going and the edits are snappy, I'm all in. You know, it's like a music video. But when it's just a group of people talking, you don't need the editing to be that quick, that snappy, fraction of a second scenes, you know?
So, yeah, go ahead. What are some like talking points Tay had since he's not here? He did give us some talking points.
Well, I kind of wanted to say this for a little bit later, but his main thing was like there was a lot of stuff that was incorrect or stuff that didn't happen. And I looked into this because I didn't want to just say that and be like, oh, you know, whatever. But I looked into it, and I guess the biggest blunder that the movie did was Freddie wasn't the only guy to go solo. It was actually like before Freddie Mercury went solo, I believe the drummer and the guitarist both had solo records. And that was a huge deal in the movie. Like Freddie didn't want to go solo, and it was a group effort. And when he went solo, the whole band was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all just not true.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I thought that I didn't even think to look into how accurate a lot of these the things are in the movie. But yeah, figures they would like alter the truth.
Well, it didn't stop there. Freddie wasn't diagnosed with AIDS until after the Live Aid event, a few years after, I think. So that whole scene where, I mean, I would think, I mean, he probably had AIDS for a while before that whole concert thing too, but he wasn't actually diagnosed with it until much later. And then also, that was not the band's first performance back. They had made a whole album before Live Aid happened. So all those moments where they're like kind of painting Freddie Mercury as the villain,
Yeah.
most of them weren't true. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
And that kind of feeds into my point. And I mean, I don't know if I'm digging too deep into this, but it seemed like as soon as Freddie Mercury came out of the closet, everything just started going wrong for him. And I feel like the movie kind of painted him as this villain for the entire movie. And like his comeuppance was he's got AIDS now. Like that was like his just desserts. It almost felt like. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
I didn't really feel that about like when his comeuppance, but yeah, that is when he kind of like started to change. And yes, I do agree that a lot of the movie did paint him as like the bad guy, the villain, the one that's making like all the bad decisions. So yeah, definitely do feel about that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna like because he fired the general manager.
That was also false.
Yeah, they kept painting him like that. He's like, "Oh, we're a band. You don't make all these decisions." And yeah, I mean, I do kind of think that, but I mean, the fact that to say that once he came out of the closet, I don't know. Maybe I didn't pick up on it, but
was
I
just
do
like
I do agree on the part where they kind of paint him for everything going wrong with the Queen.
It was just like the imagery too, like everything, like the house parties and stuff were like all like darks, and he went to like the club and it was all like reds and blacks, and it kind of painted as like I don't know, I want to use this word satanic, but they went pretty hard on those different things. It's like, yeah, sure. I mean, there was people going crazy back in the day. It was a different time, but also just how heavy handed they were with just like. It had the creepy music, and it had, everything in his life was just going wrong, and until he chose monogamy with that gym guy at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. That's just the way I saw it, because like I watched the Elton John documentary or movie memory, whatever you want to call it too, and even though there's
Rocket
a lot
Man?
of Rocket Man, and even though there's also a lot of inaccuracies. They did the same thing where it's like, this whole time that he was, gay in the movie, like his life was going downhill, doing tons of drugs and sex and blah, blah, blah. And he only became this patron saint after he chose to only have love with one man and he married him. It's like, I don't understand why directors seem to need to do this, like, can't somebody explore their sexuality without it being villainized?
It's the same thing with like movies needing to put some kind of like spin on the ending to where like everyone gets a happy ending and everyone can feel good by the end of it, even though like a lot of times it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I do feel like they focus too much on like Live Aid that that they just wanted that as their like main focus of the movie.
Well, that was like the grand finale, was like them pretty much shot for shot, move for move.
Yeah, I did watch the actual Live Aid afterwards, so it was pretty close, darn close.
Yeah, there's some really good side by side comparisons, and they did a great job with that. I mean, it's a full 20-minute set.
Imagine going to a concert like that. I mean, I guess we're just spoiled now because concerts are a lot longer, but going there, like saying all the way to back and for like what 20 minutes.
Well, I mean, there was a whole lineup of bands, and actually, funny enough, the movie also got this wrong. Apparently, they had shown like a Bono lookalike, the U2 singer, who walked off the stage before Queen went on. It was actually Dire Straits that played before them, so they couldn't even get that right. I guess they wanted to choose someone who was kind of recognizable, but
more famous, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a whole lineup of bands. So every band I think got a 20-minute slot. So like you had like I think they talked about them in the movie. There was a whole slew of really famous bands who did it, and
yeah, it was not a typical concert.
Yeah,
it's definitely a certain like a special event.
And all those people there too, all crammed together.
I was gonna say, like, do you guys feel?
No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
Go ahead. Something about COVID? What?
I say you can't do that. Go to that kind of concert nowadays.
Oh no way.
Anyways, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, do you guys feel like the movie would have maybe been a little bit better if it had been like if they decided to go for like an R rating? Because I feel like they implied so many different things, and I feel like the movie was kind of like censoring itself a lot of the times, to where like it kind of wanted to imply things were happening, but didn't want to show it or whatever. Did you guys feel that way?
Not really.
Yeah, I think the movie went far enough. I mean, you got all those crazy outfits and people walking around half naked. I think PG-13 was okay for it. I think it was PG-13.
Yeah, PG-13.
Yeah. No, I just felt like they kind of, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like certain things they wanted to imply, but they didn't want to outright say it, so they kind of just like gave hints at other things that are going on that no one actually said out loud.
How is this upset that he didn't get a sex scene with the gym guy? No.
Well, I don't yeah. I don't know. I think they showed enough. Yeah, you're right. There was a few implied things that they maybe should have shown and not told. But I think for the most part, it's okay with the way it's at.
Hmm.
I mean, in Rocket Man, I mean, there's a few sex scenes in there. That one's definitely a lot more raunchy.
All right.
Fair enough.
Going through the movie, did you guys like? There was like a few Queen songs that I forgot about that they didn't sing or that they sung. And I was like, oh yeah, they do sing this, don't they? Like that radio song or the radio.
Radio Gaga.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, that actually used to be one of my favorites, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I do admit there's like a whole bunch of songs that I didn't even realize they were like Queen songs. I don't really listen to much Queen, but
Yeah.
I do like a lot of their songs. So
Yeah, I
there's
mean
that.
they got a great discography. They're definitely one of those bands that kind of like changed the genre a little bit. I mean, they obviously went way farther into like mixing rock with other genres. Like they had the opera stuff for Bohemian Rhapsody, and I think they even had like some electronic mixed in there for an album. Like I respect them a lot because like it really was a group. I mean, when the drummer has his songs, the bassist wrote some songs, the guitarist and Freddie, of course, wrote songs together as well, and it really was like this group collaboration. And I think they did a good job of showing that everyone kind of had their own piece of the puzzle in there, and and the music was good because it was everyone pitching in instead of one person being kind of like the leader.
Mhm.
And I love how the music is like a lot of times very experimental, and they're always trying to like do something new or different. So yeah, they definitely all have a lot of talent, and yeah, it shows through the music.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the scene where they all walk out of that record label guy's office, I'm pretty sure that's genuine. Um, I couldn't find anywhere that said it was not, true. Plus, you had all three of the band members were helping with the writing of the film too. So you would think that
Oh,
a
really?
lot of things would be, true to form. I mean, obviously there were things like we already said that were lies, downright lies, or not accurate. But there should be a lot of things that are also accurate in the movie too, right?
Mhm.
But I guess that kind of leads me to the point that I wanted to make or the question I wanted to ask, which is, do you guys think this is more of a Freddie Mercury documentary or a Queen documentary?
It felt like more of a Freddie Mercury with the input of the other bandmates.
Yeah, I mean, like he's the only one on the poster, and like you look at a lot of the images from the movie, and it's just him. So yeah, I feel like this is very much a Freddie Mercury movie, but with a lot of the band stuff thrown in also.
Yeah,
Because they didn't really go into too much detail of like the other bandmates' personal lives.
There's like no personal life about the other bandmates.
yeah, and that's also where like they completely forgot to mention that two of the guys had made solo albums in there. You would think that they would mention that if it was a Queen documentary, Yeah, I think it's much. I mean, it's definitely much more focused on Freddie. I mean, they even show he's like the first character who's on screen.
Even
He's
during the end performance, which I know was the actual thing, but they barely even show the other band members. It's always just Freddie, Which I know it was just a side by side. I mean, but
well, there's also a portion of the movie where the bandmates aren't even there.
yeah,
They don't they leave from that party. And I don't think we see them again until the reunion of the band in the record office.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I would think that they like, especially if you have those people who are in the band wanting to get their story in there too. Like you would think that they would have them a little bit more in the movie. And I guess that kind of goes back to like, okay, so that's why we need everyone's reaction because these 3-4 people aren't in half the movie.
Maybe.
but who knows? I mean, movie won Oscars, so somehow.
So secondly,
Yeah.
like, what other Oscars did the movie win?
So Rami Malek won for his lead performance as Freddie Mercury. We already
Sound,
talked about editing. Yep, sound. I think it won both the sound awards.
sound and mixing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then best most. Oh, it's a nominee for picture of the year.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I think it won 4 Oscars in total. And look, a movie's not defined by the awards it wins. I mean, how many people are still talking about Bohemian Rhapsody? Like,
A lot.
well, okay, better one. How many people are still talking about Green Book?
True.
You guys probably don't even know what Green Book is.
Oh, I saw it.
But yeah, that's just the thing. Like, you know, a film can win, you know, the greatest movie of 2022, and then people forget about it next year because the Oscars like to pick some of the most generic movies to win to win the awards. And a lot of time too, they'll just go with the popular vote too.
Yeah.
So like, you know, with this movie, I mean, you know, who's more popular than Rami Malek in the year that this movie came out? I mean, he was huge. He was on Mr. Robot. He's in this. He was, I think he was also in that Old Boy remake, but whatever. Who cares about that? So the Oscars are weird, you know, because you can't always try. Like if you're looking at the list of Oscar-winning movies, I mean, Suicide Squad with Jared Leto won an Oscar. You know, like that kind of diminishes all the other movies that came out.
Huh. Yeah, I guess so.
So you can't always trust. Like I say for video games, you know, you know, your opinion is really the only one that matters in the long run because you know Joe Schmo can give this movie or game an award, but
Mhm.
I mean, you could agree with it or not. That's your personal opinion, and that's all that really matters. And it doesn't that like just because another movie that year didn't win an award or didn't you got snubbed from an award doesn't mean that it's any less a good movie. If you get what I'm saying.
I understand. Yep.
Mhm. True.
But yeah, for this
I
movie,
yeah, I
probably
oftentimes don't agree with like the best of whatever the category is. I guess it'll really just comes down to personal taste.
yeah. Well, you know, the animation category is pretty much the Disney award. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought last year that Wolfwalkers movie that was an animated movie that was excellent, and I can't believe that didn't win that. But you know, Disney's Soul came out, and it's Disney. But anyway, back to Bohemian Rhapsody. I do agree. I mean, I think the only Oscar that deserved to win was Rami Malek's, you know, Oscar win for Best Actor, who, you know, he portrayed Freddie Mercury. I think he did a great job with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. He did an excellent job. I do remember before the like in the early days of the planning of this movie, they wanted to get Sacha Baron Cohen to be Freddie Mercury, and then at the last minute they decided against it because they didn't want him to make like a mockery of the movie because he made other movies like Borat and
Yeah.
such. What do you guys think the movie would be like with him instead of Rami Malek?
Who knows?
It's hard to say. I mean, if he
I do. I mean, because I do know that he is actually a pretty good actor when he's not doing comedy and stuff. It's just that he just goes so hard on the comedy that it's really hard to separate him from that.
yeah, I think just like name recognition and how he looks alone would probably people would go into it expecting like a funny performance. You know, I think that would I think they made the right decision by swapping him out. I know he can do like the serious stuff, but I don't know. Just man, it's hard to say. I you know watching Borat and then watching a movie like this. I put like Borat in the role of Freddie Mercury,
Right.
which I don't think
Like
he
I
would have
don't.
done that, but you know. Whatever.
I don't doubt he would have. Like I'm sure he would have done great in the role, but I do agree. Like they didn't make the right decision just because of his background. People would probably have a hard time separating him from his other roles. In the same way that the record label manager, I had no idea that was Mike Myers until like the scene when they started yelling at each other. Like when he started yelling, I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely Mike Myers.
Yeah, he starts putting on like the Scottish Shrek voice, you know.
Yeah.
I did find it funny that they cut back to him at the end during the Live Aid thing.
Oh yeah.
And his office is like in shambles, and he's just kind of like listening to the radio drunk. I thought that was a nice, like, hey, this is what this character's doing now kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was not a necessary scene, but I appreciate it.
That's all we needed, though.
That reminds me, before I forget, there's also another Inaccuracy of the movie. That live performance where they did the acoustic version of that love song to Freddie Mercury's then wife. I forget exactly when that happened, but it was way after where the movie had portrayed it, which is kind of crazy. And then also another thing I'm remembering, "We Will Rock You." They had them recording that in the wrong year.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, of course.
So,
Yeah, but also was "We Will Rock You" was sped up so fast at the end. I was like, "What are they doing?" But it was actually much better.
I didn't actually notice that.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, it was like twice as fast. It was like boom, 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 boom. I was like, "Oh, jeez."
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I wanted to maybe do something positive about the movie. I know we've talked about Rami Malek and his performance and the music of the movie. Does anything that wouldn't have anything else they want to say that's like, positive about it? No.
I mean,
Well,
acting was good.
Well, you've already talked about that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
maybe
I think sorry, Callus.
No, go ahead.
The how close they got the actors to look like the character, like the people they were portraying, was actually like the guy who was playing Brian May, I think his name is, the guitarist, looked spot on. I will give them that. They got
Actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, everyone really looked closely to who they were portraying. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was
But
actually
no, I
the guitars
agree.
and basses.
What was that?
I said it was actually the real guitars and basses. No,
Yeah.
because they're still alive, right?
Yeah. All three of the other members are still alive.
Oh, so you're saying they actually handed the actors their actual guitars and bass?
I don't know if they were using their actual equipment, but they were there to kind of like, I guess, coach them on the different ins and outs of their performances, which is cool. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they still tour, and they got that American Idol guy as their lead singer now, who like stands in for Freddie. Oh, what's his name? Adam Lambert.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, didn't know that.
Wow, I didn't know that either. It's interesting.
Yeah, my parents saw Queen back when they were like, really like Freddie Mercury was there. I think that was like in the 70s. And then they saw them again with Adam Lambert, and they were like, "Yeah, it's not as good, but still good."
Wow. Oh, positive things. Yeah, I think really the two big positives out of this movie is the acting that we talked about, and the performances. I mean, I really enjoyed every time they were actually putting on a performance, especially that final scene, that when it went on for like 20 minutes. It's really weird. I didn't like at first. I was like, are they actually going to go through the whole performance? And then I found myself actually like really enthralled into the whole performance and like really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that they got that whole 20-minute show in there, and some people might think, oh, that's overdoing it, but I think it's kind of like the perfect way to end the movie with that Live Aid performance.
Yeah, definitely was.
Yeah. Any other positives?
I did like that whole section where they were like in the barn recording the Bohemian Rhapsody, the actual song.
Yeah.
I liked how they showed all the different ways that they had to edit and redo tape and stuff like that and get it all matching together. I thought that was pretty cool. And like you said, Greedy, before, like the guy going higher and higher, like that was kind of funny. And I thought that was like one of my favorite parts of the movie was them recording that whole thing.
Yeah, anytime
really fun scene.
Anytime they're making a new song, it was kind of like a fun, quick, breaking the talking, I guess you could say.
The
Yeah.
break in the drama.
Yeah.
Well, the musical parts of the movie were the most fun, obviously.
Yeah.
But even like, he was like, "Oh, we need the guitar more rocky," kind of thing. So those were some fun scenes.
I guess also they used some like actual footage from back in the day. I think there was like an interview on the TV. I think we talked about another movie that kind of did the same thing where they cut in the newer Rami Malek, but they still had the original interviewer in there too.
Oh, so they put Rami Malek on like over the original footage.
Yeah, I think so. And then they had it on like TV so they could like downgrade it and make it look better.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, anytime they moved on, like showed the scenes where they're talking to the manager, that they ended up dumping. Like they did a good job of like portraying, like, I don't want to say the oldies, but like how how the mood was set, how the atmosphere was.
Mm-hmm. Can you guys guess which song I was the first song I played on Guitar Hero?
The very first song.
Mm-hmm. Should be pretty easy to seeing as which movie we watched. Which Guitar Hero has a Queen song on it?
I mean, it was the first one, right?
Yeah, Killer Queen.
Killer Queen. That's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew it. I was just trying to remember the name.
yeah, Killer Queen was the first Guitar Hero song I ever played.
Nice.
How does that make you feel?
Old.
How, like, what is it with you and your memory regarding Guitar Hero? Like, there's no way I can remember what the first song I ever played was.
Because Guitar
How do
Hero
you
was
do
such
that?
a big part of my life for a very long time.
I mean, it was for me too, but I don't remember every detail of it.
Well, you see, Callus, there's a difference between you and me. I'm a seasoned gamer, and you're just a gamer.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
how many Guitar Hero tournaments did you win? Remind me again.
15? No. Well, I never actually entered into a tournament, so
Doesn't sound very seasoned gamery to me.
I was an at-home professional. How many times did you complete the Rock Band Endless Setlist?
Oh, ugh.
Gree Wolfson and I did one together one time.
It was fun,
It was a long journey.
but we did it. All right.
So the only other scene I guess I have on my list to talk about is the scene where they're all being interviewed, and everyone's just asking questions to Freddie Mercury, and the rest of the band is just kind of like, we're here too.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that was a pretty accurate scene where everyone was just kind of focused on Freddie, because I guess at the time, I mean, nowadays we all know that it's a group effort, but at the time, I mean, Freddie Mercury was like the leading man. He was the one in the spotlight, which is why, like when MTV rejected their music video for that one song where they were all dressed in drag, it was all blamed on Freddie because he was the gay man, but actually, in actuality, it was the drummer's idea, the dress and drag. But no one cared it was the drummer's idea because Freddie Mercury was the lead man. I thought that they portrayed that pretty well in that scene.
Yeah, and even like Freddie was like, "You guys, there's other people here. Like, stop talking to me."
Yeah.
I do like this scene. Yeah.
What was with him like going crazy though during that scene?
Well, I think he was
just
like
getting agitated.
Yeah, I think he was also on like drugs, probably drunk.
Okay. Yeah.
That also. Yeah.
That was like in the middle of like his spiral. All right. Anyone else have anything they want to mention?
I do not. Does we get through all Tay's facts?
Oh yeah, let me double check here.
Taste facts.
No, yeah, that was it. He just wanted to mention
right
the incorrect stuff.
All right.
I guess we'll move on to our final thoughts.
And rating. Starting with you, Greedy.
All right. So Bohemian Rhapsody 2018. Yeah, the live scenes were fun. The music was great. I did, it did kind of throw me back to like songs that I forgot about from Queen. I do kind of agree with Yemmy that they did focus on Rami too much a little bit, Freddie Mercury, and they could have honestly just named it, to Freddie Mercury documentary, pretty much. But they probably named it Bohemian Rhapsody because popularity.
It's their most
Oh,
famous song.
yeah, and it's their most famous song. The acting was good. I do like the scenes where they were showing like how they were creating the songs and how the build up to the end. The ending was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I was tapping my feet, and it made me like actually like look up the real YouTube performance of it, and I still enjoyed it just as much. And I was like, wow, this is pretty good. But yeah, I did focus on Freddie a little too much, and the sexuality did get like a little weird here and there. But overall, I'm gonna give this movie a 3 out of 5.
Alrighty. Personally, the inaccuracies and just I don't know. Like I understand, like at the time, people were also kind of like villainizing homosexuality as a whole. I just feel like they could have like just did something different. It seems like because like watching Rocket Man and watching this movie in like the same year, you really see the similarities between how they presented the stories, how they went through everything. Personally, I think Rocket Man is a better movie, but that's besides the point. This movie just feels a little bit too formulaic. Obviously, the music's really good, and the editing during those scenes where they're playing music is good, but the editing outside of those scenes is very distracting, very poorly done. The acting is great, especially from Rami Malek. That's I can't complain about that. There's a lot of good scenes in there mixed in there, but as a whole, I think that this movie really misses the mark, and they should have probably made it more of like a Queen tribute rather than just like Freddie Mercury with Queen, because that was like the whole point of the movie was like, hey, it's a group effort, except this movie's all about one guy. So, it kind of misses the point there. So all in all, I think I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5.
All right. Have you guys seen The Dirt?
Have not.
No.
It's a movie about Motley Crue, basically. It's another rock biopic, and I saw that movie last year, and similar to you, Yemmy, like I I saw that, and I guess in my mind I was like subconsciously like comparing it to this one, to where I didn't think this movie was as good as that one. And the word you said there, Yemi, formulaic, that's a great word to describe it, because I did feel like that, to where it was very like it just moved from thing to thing, and I just did not find it compelling. There was a lot that I did like about the movie, like the acting and the musical performances, stuff like that. But it just didn't. I didn't feel like it was really gluing me to my seat in the same way that a movie like The Dirt was. So yeah, overall, I would have to give it a 3 out of 5.
All right.
What
And
about me?
yeah, Tay says he liked the music, obviously. The movie was made just so they could play Queen music, since everything in this movie was incorrect or didn't happen. I guess not everything was incorrect, but I guess a lot of things were incorrect. Besides the concert at the end, he gives it a 3 out of 5.
Wow,
Okay.
Yemi's the odd one out.
So, do you guys think this movie was overhyped?
A little bit.
Because yeah,
Yeah.
after watching it, like hearing so many things about it in 2018, 2019, now watching, I'm just kind of like, it wasn't that great, people.
Yeah, the worst thing a movie can be is just the same thing again, and I mean, Callus agrees with me. I mean, it's just like any other rockumentary, it almost hits exactly the same points as Rocket Man, which was like a year or two before it. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting, and it does put the movie down because it's not as unique as I once thought it was.
hmm
Well, I would recommend you guys watch The Dirt. I think it's on Netflix.
Or you can recommend.
Oh yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
we'll see. Because Tay kept with the trend of movies based around
Really?
music.
Okay.
His choice is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This is
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
this is from 2010, directed by Edgar Wright, which I believe is one of Tay's favorite directors. This is an epic of epicness. Scott Pilgrim is a 22-year-old radical Canadian wannabe rock star who falls in love with an American delivery girl, Ramona Flowers, and must defeat her 7 evil exes to be able to date her. This is based off an award-winning comic book series, and it stars Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ellen Wong, Allison Phil, Mark Webber. I know there's a few: Aubrey Plaza, Chris Evans, and Brie Larson, just to name a few of the main actors and actresses there. So haven't watched this movie since high school, so it's gonna be
Yeah.
a good rewatch.
I love this movie. Scotty doesn't know.
I
Scotty
actually
doesn't
watched it
know.
recently, so can I be excused from watching it again?
No.
How recent?
Last year.
Oh, jeez.
Give it a rewatch, Callis.
It's April though. It's early in this year, so. All right.
Alrighty.
Okay, so if you want to not be spoiled, or if you want to join the conversation for Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which does not have the song "Sky Doesn't Know" in it, you
It
can-
doesn't. Wait. What?
"Sky Doesn't Know" is from Eurotrip.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But you can join us when the next episode drops in 2 weeks. If you want to check this movie out, it's on Amazon, iTunes, Google, Vudu, etc. Okay. Hopefully next time we'll have a full squad back, but hopefully Tay's having a good time on vacation. And do you guys have anything else you want to say before we end the show?
I did see some of his pictures, and it looks like he is having a great time. I'm very jealous.
Wow. How nice.
Yeah, it's sunny there. It was snowing this morning in Ohio. So.
It's snowing here.
It's very hot here.
Alrighty. Well, I am Yemmy the Queen, and I've been here with
Bohemian Waffles.
And Callus Mercury.
and we are Film Freaks with a Z. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Clean your ass.